people are worried about other things. Health is wealth. You need to be saying you haven't lived what they've lived. I learned that from action solves everything and caution breeds fear in absolutely everything I know, and let me tell you why. Action will cause you not to shy away from change. There are only a few things which are guaranteed in this life. One of those is death, the other one is taxes, and the last one is change. You need to know how to embrace change. You need to know how to adapt to change. Don't be rigid, and when change comes, you don't want to cause any action, you rather not do anything. No, be malleable. In this life is unfair. The world is unfair, and you need to know how to always be ready, be on the forefront, be ready for action, and be ready to put your right foot forward. A man of action doesn't waste time feeling sorry about himself. There is no time to feel sorry about yourself. There is no time to sit around and lie around feeling sorry about what you coulda, shoulda, woulda done in the past. The past belongs to the dead. Take full responsibility. I'm a hard believer in taking full responsibility for everything. Absolutely everything that happens in my life, I'm a full believer in taking some level of responsibility for that. Other people want to blame it on this person, blame it on that, blame. There is no time to be blaming. What does blaming do anyway? Nothing. Take responsibility, figure out your next course of action, and move on. And if you decide not to go all in, and you decide not to go on it at all, then don't waste time trying to control it. A man of action, he looks at what he can and cannot control. He controls the things that he can control, and the things that he cannot control, he leaves them alone completely. Don't waste your valuable and precious time on things that cannot be controlled. I learned that from The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That book doesn't just teach you not to give a fuck about certain things. What it really teaches you is that there's certain things that you should give a fuck about, and there's certain things that you should not give a fuck about at all. Too many people like to dwell on the past, talk about the past as if you lived there. The past is gone. You can't go back. We haven't discovered time travel. My favorite quote, and you'll hear me say time and time again, the past belongs to the dead, because it does. Anybody who are here who likes to talk about the past, I say they're dead to me. They're dead to me. Those guys who like to talk about the past, all they talk about is the good times back in the past. You know, those people who like talking about the good times. Well, why do you keep talking about the good times in the past? Why can't you create good times for the present? And then set your present up for good times in the future too. Thinking about the past, it will hold you back and you won't be able to go to your future. And those people who have set themselves up for a good future, for a good present, don't compare yourselves to them. Don't compare yourself to people who maybe they might be the same age as you, but they're doing better than you. You haven't gone through what they've gone through. You haven't lived what they've lived. Thief is the comparison of joy. I promise you that. The moment you start comparing yourself to people, you will start moving confused. You can't compare your journey where you are to somebody else's journey, because they might be 10 steps ahead of you. You're on step 1 and they're on step 10. You can't compare yourself to step 10 and step 1. I remember when I played Call of Duty, if anyone played Call of Duty, you can't compare yourself to someone who's Prestige Master 10 and you're a rookie. You can't be comparing yourself to that. If you play a 1v1 versus them, you'll never win. You can't compare yourself to Michael Jordan or LeBron James and you're an amateur at basketball. If you do that, you'll never get good. Focus on only being better than yesterday's you. You should only be focusing on proving yourself wrong. Yesterday's you will tell tomorrow's you that he can't be better than today's you. Today's me is telling tomorrow's me that he can't beat today's me. And I'm gonna prove that person wrong. Every day I'm trying to prove yesterday me wrong. I know what I've been through. I know what I'm going through. And I'm gonna compare myself to that because I know the full picture. And when you start having that mentality, when you start understanding that honestly everything is only about you, you start being more selfish about your time, more selfish about your energy, more selfish about who you hang around with and the places that you go. You start saying no to certain activities. Somebody else wants to party and have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're in a different stage of life than where they are. Maybe they're in a stage of life where they can party and have fun, but you can't. And you're gonna have to decline those activities. You're gonna have to say no. You need to start being more selfish about your time, about your energy, and about the people that you start to share those experiences with. Learn to say no more often. That's something big that I learned. You need to be saying more no's than you start saying yeses. one big definer of how I can judge somebody, whether they're really about what they're about or whether they're not, is how many often they say no. The most successful people that I've met, they will say 99 no's and 1 yeses. Those are what successful people, that's the kind of level that they operate. That's something that I'm even trying to learn now, that I have to learn to say no to certain things, even when I really want to. But I have to say no, because I'm not gonna get to where I'm trying to get to if I go do those things. And I'm only gonna have myself to blame if I don't get to where I'm supposed to go. And that's why your self-care has to be your first priority. You need to be careful of the things that you're consuming. What's going in your body, whether that's your food, what's going in your ears, whether that's what's being said to you, what you're hearing. You have to be very careful of the things that you consume. Just like a computer, you don't upload viruses onto your computer. You don't put in your computer a low-level processor, low-level hard drives, low-level memory. You only put the best. And when you put the best in your computer, that's when it operates at the highest level. And when the computer operates at the highest level, that's when it starts doing the tasks that it needs to do efficiently. That's when it starts achieving the goals that the computer needs to achieve quickly and efficiently. Treat yourself like a computer. Treat yourself like a car. You don't put diesel into a petrol car. You don't put petrol into a diesel car. You don't put petrol into an electric car. You need to be very careful of the things that you consume and put into yourselves. Your self-care has to be number one. And that's why I keep saying, I'll say it over and over again, health is wealth. Once you start organizing those things, once those things are patterned, wealth will just fall in. It will just fall in. Look at wealthy people. If you look at them and you'll see that rarely will you really see a fat rich person. Rarely will you see a rich person who's complaining and miserable. For the most part, for that person who's financially free or has a job that's giving them a substantial amount of income and they're not really worried about money, they're happy, man. Don't believe what they try and tell you, that rich people are miserable and whatnot. They only tell you that so that you can't get to these certain goals. Rich people are worried about other things, but the one thing that they're not worried about is whether or not they can pay their bills on time. Ultimately, action solving everything should come from a place of deep meaning. It should come from a place where you feel like you can contribute to this earth. If you don't feel like you can contribute to the world, then don't apply any action. Just sit and, wait, and eventually you'll die, and that's it. And you'll be nothing. You would have contributed nothing, and you would have done nothing, and no one would have remembered you for anything. We live in an unfair world. There's many problems in this world, many problems, and you should find a few problems that are really nagging your head, and you should try and solve them. Ultimately, that's where action solving everything should come from. That's what we teach in Wi-Fi Money. When you join Wi-Fi Money, we're teaching you to get your mind right. We're teaching you how to get your mentality right. Because in order to get money, you also need to get your mind right first. Click the link below if you want to find out more.